Cats are said to be inscrutable, distant, and aloof. Indeed, to some people they are, because their behavior is extremely subtle and is often either misread or simply overlooked. Cats are not as gregarious as dogs. While a friendly dog may jump up onto your lap, a cat is being extremely sociable when it decides to get up and sit 2 or 3 feet away from you. Sometimes when you look at a cat, it will close its eyes and seem to ignore you, as though confirming the myth that they are distant and aloof. What the cat is actually doing is relaxing in your presence. A tense cat will certainly not close its eyes and would stare and perhaps back away when you looked at it. But a friendly cat, one that feels comfortable in your presence, will often close its eyes and relax, as a very clear social signal that it is accepting you and feels good in your presence. First of all, let's take a good look at the outside of the cat before discussing its inner psychology and overt behavior. The cat's whiskers are thought to be touch receptors which help the animal negotiate its way through narrow holes. More likely, the whiskers play a very important role in protecting the eyes, for when the animal is going through dense cover, as soon as the whiskers are touched, the eyelids reflexively close and therefore afford immediate protection of the eyes from injury. Cats and dogs are generally thought to be colorblind, but in fact cats are sensitive to red and green. Their eyes lack the extreme color sensitivity that we have, but they compensate for this lack by being acutely sensitive to movement. The cat's ears, like the dog's, are exquisitely sensitive to sounds, and both cats and dogs can hear high-frequency sounds which are quite inaudible to the human ear. Both cats and dogs have a second organ located behind the upper front teeth. This is called the organ of Jacobson, or vomeronasal organ, which connects with brain structures associated with sexual behavior, aggression, and territorial behavior. The cat has a number of facial expressions which display its emotions and its intentions. The most aggressive expression in this slide is the face of cat A, which is giving a direct stare. I've also observed this seeming lack of facial expression in dogs and wolves that are asserting their dominance over others, and I call it the expression of passive indifference. It's rather like a human being putting up a very cool front when threatened by someone or something. The dominant cat here also has constricted pupils. The more dilated the pupils become, notice the change from A, B, C, D, E, and F, the more fearful the animal is. The facial expressions in figures B and C show increasing fear as the ears are twisted and flattened sideways and then backwards. The most fearful cat is in figure F. A lot of people would mistake this expression as one of being extremely aggressive, but the animal here is showing defensive aggression as distinct from the confident, offensive aggressive face of the cat in figure A. The degree of defensiveness in the two expressions displayed here in a wild lynx shows clearly what an important role the pupils and ears play in cat communication. The more defensive, fearful display is shown on the cat on the right. Another facial expression which cats often show is the open mouth flamen reaction when they have sniffed some novel odor or the urine of another cat. This photograph shows a lion sniffing the urine of a female lion in heat. Notice how he is curling his upper lip and has the mouth open and the eyes half closed. It is quite likely that his vomeronasal organ is being stimulated and the lion is being sexually aroused. The alert expression on a cat's face, concentrating intently on prey, is characterized by a forward extension of the ears and whiskers. This same expression is often seen during play, as when a kitten or adult cat pounces and grabs some non-existent prey between its paws. In contrast, a cat that is extremely content, as when it is being petted, will often close its eyes, which can be interpreted as an expression of consummatory pleasure. Cats that are anxious or apprehensive will rotate their ears from the normal position into a backward and sideways rotation, which was the cue that this cat was going to run off, since she was rather camera shy. While a cat that is defensively fearful will hiss with its ears twisted protectively backwards, a forward direction of the ears and whiskers, accompanied by a threatening open-mouth hiss, is a clear display of offensive threat. This offensive facial expression in a confident, dominant cat is often accompanied by a swipe with one forepaw at its adversary. Notice the submissive ears back and eye closure in this cat that has just been verbally reprimanded for being so aggressive. In addition to its facial expressions, the domestic cat has various body postures which also communicate the animal's intentions and emotional states. In these line drawings, one can see the shift in mood as the animal varies the position of its head, the angle of its body, and so on. From the alert position of the cat in figure A, we have the straight body posture and slight tucking in of the chin in B, and confident walking in C, which are signs of dominance. This is a display which one cat will do when facing a rival or subordinate. A subordinate cat, when facing up to a cat displaying like those in figure C or B, will assume a defensive crouch, as in D, or may squat down, as in E. In the crouched position, the subordinate cat freezes. This cat is rising out of a cautious crouch, readying to attack. Cats do not roll over onto one side as dogs do to display submission. Back arching in the cat is one way of increasing the apparent size of the animal, a kind of illusory trick. It is a defensive posture and is an indicator of intense fear, as in the archetypical Halloween cat. Cats do also have another part of their body that is puffed out to give an illusion of great size and strength, and that is the cheek region in tomcats. It enhances the frontal display of threat and aggression. An extreme development of this is the mane of the lion. Because of this great development in the lion's mane, lions do not give side-on displays and back arching as in the domestic cat. Besides these body postural displays, cats perform various acts to communicate their intentions and emotional state. One very obvious one is rolling over onto one side. This is not a display of submission in the cat as it is in the dog. It is usually an invitation to play or to be petted. Repeated rolling and calling is seen in female cats during courtship when they are in heat. Some owners think that their cat is having a seizure or has a brain tumor, especially if they have a Siamese cat that is rolling and calling continuously. Cats engage in a variety of play actions, including solitary play, such as playing with a leaf, a ball of wool, or their own tails, and this to me indicates that kittens do have an imagination. Sometimes they will chase after some imaginary object between their front paws, and at other times leap up and bat at a fleck or mark on the wall as though it were a fly. It is important for owners to realize that cats enjoy playing. Animals and people who play together stay together. Play is not only good physical exercise, it has a bonding function too. Cats enjoy games, including play fighting, wrestling, chasing, stalking, and games of ambush and scare me. The scare me game is best exemplified by a cat walking up to a wall mirror, back arching and then running away as though terrified. A person can play this kind of game, playing hide and seek and catch me if you can. Another game is to swing something in the air or drag it along the ground for the cat to chase and grab. This will stimulate its latent hunting instincts. Because of the cat's need for and enjoyment of social play, I do advise people to keep 2 cats rather than 1 at home, especially when they leave the animal alone all day when they go to work. In relation to this issue, the cat is going to be a major companion animal of the future. It does not need to be housebroken, will readily use a litter tray, doesn't need to go outdoors for exercise or to urinate or defecate like a dog, and adapts extremely well indoors. However, cats do need companionship, and there is nothing better to keep one cat healthy than another one to play with, to sleep with, and to engage in reciprocal social grooming. Unlike cats, dogs, when left alone, will often become house wreckers and develop various emotional, behavioral problems. Some cats will develop behavior problems as a consequence of boredom, one being excessive licking or self-sucking, another being wool chewing or chewing various other materials in the house. This chewing vice is particularly common in Siamese cats and might have a hereditary basis. Boredom, I believe, is a major contributing factor. It is not generally recognized that cats use their tails as a very important means of communication. An excited or aggressively aroused cat will lash its tail. Mother cats will move their tails as a play stimulus for their kittens. Tail position plays an important communicatory role in cats. The vertical tail is a social signal in kittens indicating friendly intention or soliciting attention. A vertical tail, as shown by this mother cat, is a signal for the kitten to follow her. This tail signal is used by cats to attract their owner's attention, especially first thing in the morning when they want to be fed, and many tails have been lost in refrigerator doors as a consequence of this display. When a cat is being petted, it will also raise its tail in a vertical position. This display could be related to the kitten being cleaned at the hind end by the mother. In other words, this may be a socio-infantile display related to early interaction between a kitten and its mother, later persisting into maturity as a social, affectionate, and solicitous signal. Adult cats may display other infantile behaviors when being petted, including drooling, pushing with the head as though trying to nurse, and alternate kneading with both front paws. This is a perfectly natural, affectionate, and solicitous regression to kittenish behavior, another example of socio-infantile behavior which some owners mistake as neurotic or perverted. Observe how the cat in the lower picture that is soliciting food raises the hind end. This is called the lordosis response, as shown in this slide, where a female cat is in heat and is being touched at the base of her tail. She makes treading movements and presents her posterior. Other tail displays in the cat, in addition to the vertical, friendly tail, include the fluffed-out vertical tail of intense fear and defensive aggression, as shown in figures E and F. The alert, excited tail that is stiffly erect with the hair fluffed out, as in B, and the arched tail, as in C, occur during playful situations, as does the inverted U-tail in D. One cat will sometimes mount another and grasp the scruff of the neck to assert dominance. Some cats will suddenly bite and hold on to their owner's hand or arm. This is simply a love bite, as would be given to a female cat while mounting. Mounting is often misinterpreted as sexual behavior, as in this male lion asserting his rank over a young cub. Seizing a cat by the scruff of the neck has an immobilizing effect on the animal and is a very effective way of asserting control over a cat that is difficult to handle. This behavioral response to having the scruff of the neck seized may be related to the mother seizing and carrying a kitten by the scruff of the neck when it is very young. This socio-infantile reaction persists into maturity as a socio-sexual response, as when the female cat remains passive when the male seizes her by the scruff of the neck prior to mating. When one male does it to another male, this has been termed psychological castration, as in the photograph by Professor Paul Leyhausen, the well-known German authority on cat behavior. When two cats interact, eye contact plays a very important role in regulating social distance. Notice how the cat on the right is assuming the dominant aggressive posture, giving a direct stare to the more subordinate cat on the left. When the dominant cat breaks eye contact, the subordinate cat is then allowed to move away, and it moves slowly, for if it were to run, it might elicit the chase response and be attacked by the dominant cat. During social encounters between cats, nose touching frequently occurs. Paul Leyhausen calls this nose check. It is possible that the cat is checking the familiarity of the odor of the other cat. It is a fact that cats that know each other well will fight when one individual in the group has been out and smells of another strange cat, or has been to the veterinary hospital and comes home smelling quite different. Nose touching is also directed towards humans as a friendly gesture. Sometimes when two cats are facing up to each other, there is a good degree of ambivalence before they work out which is the more dominant of the two. When a cat is in a state of ambivalence or conflict, it will engage in so-called displacement behaviors. A displacement behavior is a behavior pattern which is not strictly appropriate for the context, such as grooming in the middle of an aggressive confrontation. A cat in an aggressive or tense social situation may suddenly start grooming itself, as in the sketch here of two cats interacting together for the first time. The displacement behavior might serve to de-arouse or relax the more ambivalent animal. It is often said that one can tell when a storm is coming because cats generally groom themselves much more. The cat is feeling tense and anxious because of the change in barometric pressure or ionic charge of the air prior to a storm occurring. Cats' tails also have an additional function of scent marking. Here is a sequence showing a cat marking furniture with its tail. The tail has diffuse scent glands under the skin, and it is quite likely that such marking makes the animal literally feel at home by imparting a familiar odor to its surroundings. Not so much a territorial mark, but a marking of home base in order to feel secure. Cats will also mark furniture and their companions, including people and other cats, with their temporal glands. These scent glands are located on the temples in the front of the ears. They also have a scent gland under the chin and on each side of the lips for social and place marking. In the cat world, those who smell the same are regarded as friends, and so it is logical for cats to engage in a good deal of reciprocal marking. Cats have another way of scent marking, and that is by spraying objects with their urine. This lion is marking his territory by backing up and spraying against the tree. Such behavior is more common in male cats than in female cats, but also occurs in females and in castrated males when they are motivated to defend their territory. The presence of a rival cat outdoors that is spraying, or any change in the social relationship within the cat's home, can make it feel more insecure and therefore more likely to mark or spray within the house. As for cats refusing to use the litter tray and defecating in various places in the house, this again can mean that the animal is emotionally upset because of some change in the social relationship within the family, such as the birth of a child, or a change in the social hierarchy if there is more than one other cat in the home. Wild cats, such as bobcats, will fastidiously bury their feces close to home base, but leave their feces unburied at the edge of their territory as territorial marks. Hence the interpretation that if a cat refuses to use its litter tray and leaves its feces uncovered in various parts of the house, it is feeling insecure and has a greater need to mark its territory. There are many emotional reasons why cats become unhousebroken, and good behavioral counseling can save many cats from being given up for euthanasia. Of course, we should be alert to the fact that constipation and pain in passing hard stools can set up a conditioned aversion, and cats will then refuse to use their litter tray. Also, cats with cystitis may urinate in various places in the house, sometimes even at their owner's feet, as though to communicate that they are sick. The sheer pain of passing urine when the animal has cystitis can set up an association such that the litter tray may seem like the source of pain, and it is then not used. Blocked anal glands are also associated with such behavior and should be checked by a veterinarian. Another point of general interest related to cat behavior is the cat's tendency to paw and scrape around its food as though to bury it. Cats will naturally bury food in the wild and sometimes return and eat it. At other times, the reaction might well be one of disgust because of the smell of the food, and the cat is literally attempting to bury it and cover up the smell. Cats frequently suffer from fur balls, which can cause intestinal blockage, but more often a healthy cat will engage in frequent bouts of retching and throwing up the fur ball. It is perfectly normal for cats to swallow fur as a result of grooming with their raspy tongues, but possibly because of the diet that we give them, there is not sufficient roughage of bones and other materials to bind up the fur so that it can be passed out in the feces normally. Hence the fur builds up in the stomach, and the cat should be able to vomit this up. A cat that is in poor health may well be suffering from fur balls and should be given a mineral oil or mild laxative. Cats do enjoy eating fresh grass, which may act as an emetic or a general tonic. It may also help in the passage of fur balls. Owners with confined cats should be encouraged to grow a little grass in a windowsill pot. Cats do take extremely well to leash training, especially to a harness when they are young kittens. Once a cat has a taste for the outdoors, it may not adapt so well to being confined indoors for the rest of its life. Owners should therefore be encouraged not to allow their cats to roam free in the neighborhood unless the cats are used specifically for controlling rodents on the farm. Free-roaming cats not only get injured by cars and by fights with other cats, they will also prey upon wildlife, an unnecessary impact considering the state of wildlife in most urban and suburban areas today. Cat owners often feel that the cat should live as natural a life as possible, and while one should empathize with such a naturalistic ethic, it is not only unrealistic, it is basically irresponsible. One of the ethical questions to raise is how far should we go in making our pets adapt to our lifestyles? Neutering certainly helps to make cats more adaptable, less motivated to roam, spray the house, get into fights, and of course, neutering helps reduce pet overpopulation. Declawing cats is a particularly touchy subject. Cat owners should be encouraged to train their cats to use scratching posts because cats enjoy scratching and it may be a social display and a way of marking territory. A cat should be encouraged to use various scratching posts which can be spiced with a little catnip to make them more attractive. In conclusion, cats are indeed fascinating, affectionate, and highly intelligent animals, like this cat showing its ability to discriminate different patterns in the study of learning abilities. Possibly because of the subtlety of their behavior, they have been misunderstood by many and frequently subjected to abuse. Although in other cultures, as in ancient Egypt, they were very much revered. Still today, people wrongly believe cats to be unresponsive, distant, and aloof. But they are highly adaptable animals and do make extremely satisfying companions. A greater understanding and appreciation of their behavior and emotional needs will go a long way toward improving their relationships with their owners and the treatment they receive. Although tame, they are wonderfully natural, spontaneous, embodying qualities of wildness and instinctive wisdom that we should respect and not distort or cripple through breeding bizarre mutants like this hairless Sphinx cat, and by so doing burden domestic cats with a wide range of genetic abnormalities that now afflict purebred dogs. Cats and their wild cousins like the leopard are so mysteriously beautiful to contemplate. A greater respect and understanding of cats will engender more concern for their wild relatives, such as the lynx and leopard, which are killed for their coats. Even free-roaming domestic cats are sometimes trapped, along with bobcats and other animals. Let us not turn wild cats or any creatures into fur coats that we wear for show, or turn domestic cats into anthropomorphized little dolls. Let us allow them to be themselves, and in the process recognize that the love for cats is part of a universal love for all creatures, which impels us toward a reverence for all life. Let's talk about understanding your cat. Cat behavior. Cats express, with their body language, just like dogs, their emotions and their intentions. And when you tune into that, you really know what your cat's feeling and what it wants, too. Now, let's look at the face first. A cat who's very relaxed has fairly small pupils, but the more afraid the cat becomes, the larger and larger the pupils get. It's a clear indication of fear. They express their emotions in the face. A cat who wants to play with you will look at you like this and then just go plonk, flop over on one side. Let's look at this one's body language. I'm petting her and she's raising her tail. This is her social gesture, saying that she's feeling pretty good about this. We have a little kitten here. Hi, kitten. See the nose touch? Cats do a nose touch. That's a social gesture. And your cat will probably wake you up in the morning with a little nose touch. It's saying hi. And you can mimic the nose touch if you don't want to get your nose right next to your cat's, simply by putting your finger forwards. Hey, kitty. That's a social gesture in cats. They're very subtle indeed. Of course, tails are playthings for little kittens to play with. Come on. Some cats will actually lash their tails for the kittens to play with and do it quite deliberately. Yes. Now, this cat is now giving me what some people think is a sexual display. I call it a socio-infantile signal. Little kittens present the hind end to the mother to clean. And sometimes it's rather embarrassing when your cat is being friendly to visitors. It'll jump on the visitor's lap and then present the hind end right to their faces. This is a reverse smile in cat language. Now, part of the body language is knowing the body parts of the cat where you can control its behavior. And you hold a cat by the scruff when you want to inhibit it. This is where the male will bite the female cat to immobilize her, and where the mother will carry the kitten. So this is a key area. When cats are expressing their intentions to each other, they will sometimes turn sideways and then stare and arch the back. The Halloween cat, and that is a display of dominance combined with fear. A very cool cat, however, who's just saying that it's boss, will just look right into the eyes of the other cat without twitching an ear or its tail. And the cool cat is the one who will advance very slowly and intimidate the other one to run away. So it's through eye contact that cats figure each other out and work out which one is dominant. Now, a lot of people think that cats are distant and aloof. You know, when you look at them, they'll just close their eyes as though they're ignoring you. But what the cat is doing is telling you that it's very relaxed in its presence. So, how to play with a cat? Well, cats, they get busy in the evening. I call it the evening crazes. And cats are by nature hunters. And in the wild, they go hunting early in the morning, which can wake lots of people up in the home, and early in the evening. And they race through the house just going berserk. And encourage that. You can give them little things to chase. I don't know how playful you're feeling. But see, curious. Mm-hmm. Curiosity killed the cat. And just get them going with a ball of wool or a strip of fur on a string in the evening. Chase it around. And the more exercise, the better. Exercise stimulates their minds. Now, you can make your home a little more enriched for them, too, with this kind of device, a nice scratch post. So this is what I would call the kind of habitat to make your home a more natural environment for your cat. You can make one of these yourselves. This material, too, is great for their clawing. They need to have a scratch post. They don't just scratch to sharpen their claws. It's a display of excitement, too. You know, when you come home, they'll run to the scratch board or to the gymnasium and rake away just to show off to you, to see you coming home. Hi there. How are you hunters doing? Now, you see the cat poking its head out on the bottom. Yeah. There's a kind of a bald spot in front of each ear. Well, this is one of the scent glands. They have scent glands on each side of the head here and on the lips and under the chin. And when they're rubbing against you, they're anointing you with their own scent. And in the cat's world, those who smell the same stay together. It's a very subtle social thing. They're not just grooming themselves against you, they're marking you. And look out, people. Some people will put on a new perfume, like a French perfume that contains musk from a wild animal, and this will freak a lot of cats out. Cats have an exquisite sense of smell. And one of the ways that you can enrich their environment occasionally is to give them a little catnip to get high on as well. They really enjoy that. They will roll in it, and they will almost go into a trance. It's not an aphrodisiac. It's just simply a high. And the rolling that cats do, they will roll when they're in heat, and they'll also roll when they're in a state of intense pleasure with something like catnip. Do cats have 9 lives? 9 cats for 9 lives? Well, it's a bit of an old wives' tale, but there's a grain of truth in it. You know, when a cat is sick, it will just go into a corner or go into its little habitat hole like this and just stay there. When a cat is sick, don't over-swaddle it. Let it begin to heal itself. Of course, take it to the veterinarian too to check things out. Cats tend to withdraw when they're very sick. And this self-healing process, it makes it seem as though they're dying, that they're on death's door, and they'll withdraw for a few days and then suddenly snap out of it like that. And that is their way of healing. And this is part of the myth why they have 9 lives. They seem to be on the verge of dying, and then they recover. Dogs and cats love to be stroked, and cats
Some people think they're incredibly sensuous, and I think they are. Look how this fellow is raising his tail. This is one of the social signals of a cat being relaxed and enjoying himself. He's a cool fellow. This one is 16, and he's an excellent candidate for regular massage. Massage has the same advantages for cats as for dogs as for human beings. It gives them total relaxation. If there is some painful area or a swelling, you can make a quick early home diagnosis and get your cat to the veterinarian early. It's also a tremendous advantage for the tense little kittens, because the more frequently you touch them deeply, the more they learn to trust you and enjoy that deep touch, the healing touch of the energy that comes out of your hands. There are various terms for this healing energy. Shakti is one from the East. Another is the healing power of love, because when you touch your animal with understanding and compassion, you're giving it something. There is a change in the animal's biological electrical field around its body, and there are specific points that you can touch and just hold the pressure. These are called acupressure points, and they go all the way down the dog or the cat's back, like this. For an old cat, this kind of massage, a little pressure, is extremely valuable, because their whole power force is along the back here. And they do get arthritis as they get older. Some of the other strokes included just a general, gentle kneading, as though you're kneading dough. You can do this when you're watching television or listening to some music, and cats do enjoy music too. Music is just as relaxing, but perhaps a little less potent than your loving touch. So let's get the system going. You begin with the head end here, the temporal muscles in front of the temples, and the masseter or jaw muscles. These are the chewing muscles of the cat. Then down the neck here. Cats and dogs love it behind the ears. You know, they're holding their heads up all the time. It's quite a lot of tension. And the cat only lets these muscles relax completely when it goes into the deepest phase of dreaming sleep. And yes, cats and dogs do dream, by the way. I don't know whether you're going to dream today with this touch, but we shall see. The basic anatomy of the cat is rather like that of the dog, but they're a little bit more springy. You see how the legs here are springing with the shoulder blade coming up here, and then the point of the shoulder here and coming back and down. So feel how these bones line up. This here is this here on me. This coming up here is this, and back here is the shoulder blade, which is way back here on me. So feel around and get used to massaging the muscles around there. When your cat gets very relaxed, you can even lie it on its side and extend and flex these limbs. This again is bringing about a reflex relaxation response. This is the first time that I've handled this cat. He's a very trusting fellow indeed. Yes. With a very relaxed cat, yours at home, might even lie on the side like this. Occasionally with cats and dogs too, I've literally mesmerized them to sleep with the healing touch. Towards the end of the massage, after you've worked around the shoulders and down the limbs here, and again all the way down here, here is the point of the hip. It's important to work around here, especially for arthritis in the hips that older cats get. The knee is here. Yes. Again, flex and extend the hind leg. Hi, gorgeous. Just as you would flex and extend the upper leg. When you've done both sides, turn the cat over and do the other side. Then, as you finish the massage, just do a very light passes all the way down. Never massage a cat or dog who is sick, especially one that has a fever. But massage is very beneficial for an animal that is recovering from surgery or from an acute disease when it's in the recovery phase and is beginning to heal itself.